leg. A little. Smack them across the leg, yeah?
Handed in to the white van with the extra. So he's just making sure there is something to pick up. Well, you've got boiler here as well, don't you?
Leaving the war department, it went into civilian uses of the bus. It was company down in Gloucestershire, and from there it ended up on a farm in Gloucestershire, bought by Mr. Marvel Watts in 1968 and totally renovated. It's 103 years old and still running to this day. Coming behind is both later in life they were used for timber extraction and stuff like that. Lovely little truck. Here's something coming in now, a Volvo FL7. This was another nail in the coffin for late. This vehicle hasn't actually got air suspension, but there was no need for suspension on the seat because the ride was that good. Coming behind that, there's an Atkinson Borderer, built in Preston. That would have an ash at the gardener. And once you've driven that all day, you know you've done a hard day's work. Not the best of things to drive bobtail. When I say bobtail, that is with no trailer on the back. But fair play to Martin, he's done that all himself and painted himself with limited garage equipment. Here we have now the Mercedes Unimo, used in many displays. The Leyland FG. These were badged at Leyland. Earlier in life there was Morris in Oxford, he had a bigger grille on it. Nice looking truck that. It's nice to see them not renovated. As you can tell by the tone of the engine. Sounds really nice, that's a two-stroke doing that. Leyland actually had red line and blue line. Blue line was on 7.5 ton 10 tonners, and the blue line was on a mostly size. Coming behind here now, this is the Leyland road train. Out of the Cecil's Haulage company up in Blakeney, they run a lot of these. They were Leyland men all the way through, right from the beginning. They actually run a lot of buffaloes, and this replaced the buffaloes. This was Leyland's final stab, really, trying to stop the foreigners coming over to squeeze the Volvos in that. But it was no comparison to a Volvo, really, which is a pity. This has got the Perkins engine in it, which was the Perkins, it was really, but Badge Perkins when they took over. Yeah, nice looking truck that. And here's a rarity now. This is a Spanish Dodge. It would have a Beatrice diesel engine in it. This was actually built in Spain and exported to the UK and used in the UK. If you have a look at the wheels, it's got the different wheel arrangements to the British truck. They were actually built in Spain and exported. They didn't really take off. There was a few companies took them on, but it not very, very successful. As you can tell by the badge on it, they're 300 series. You can get them in a factory unit or 6-meter guy. Fair play to John Weaver, he's done a really good job on them. Coming up next is a ERS series. ERS standing for Edwin Richard Pope. This was the first tilt cam the ERF ever produced of these series. Made life for fitters a lot easier. That is a steel frame cab with plastic panels. When it first came out, it was called the SV cab, steel plastic cab. And anything really to rot on them in the fiberglass. This 8-wheeler coming in now, this is a real rarity. It's got a AEC engine in it, and this was owned by Whitbread, and it was used to export beer to Belgium. This was doing a beer run in them days, the opposite way to what's happening now. And they complained about the smoke the garters was kicking out on fly-up. So they went to the AEC engine, which was a much cleaner engine. That would have been your main truck vehicle in the 60s, but when they changed the regulations in 64, Arctics come more acceptable and the 8-wheeler started to do it. Here's a nice looking Leyland Comet. That would have the 330 diesel engine in it. Nice looking truck, and as you can see, that's not forward control, that's conventional, where you've got a bonnet on there and the driver is sat behind the front wheel. This is a really another nice truck. This is a Leyland Interstater. Well, Interstate. This was named, if you look at it, it's similar to the American truck. There wasn't a great deal of these made, but there's a lovely looking truck. Room-wise, sleeping in it, it was a real magic truck to own. I remember the Ireland at Somerset, they run a fair few of these, and the drivers really loved them. And that's a tribute to the guys who've done that. Really nice truck, that. One of the easiest trucks to work on, actually, the road thing. There was nothing really. There's another one now, a little Bedford TK. Used in many disguises, as this was. Made in Dunstable. A lot of people thought that little back behind him, that parcel shop, as we call it, was a sleeper cab. Many a driver had to sleep on the back of there. Long before the vehicle you see it was in front of you, that you could hold a part in, basically the road train compared to that. Here's Nigel, his little FG. Six-cylinder petrol in there, and that's how we like to see it. That's how we come off the road. Nigel, all he does is maintain it to keep it roadworthy. A tribute to Nigel, that, but a bit heavy on the fuel, the 6-cylinder petrol. But that's what we call a vehicle in his working clothes. Really nice looking truck again. He drives that everywhere, does Nigel. He doesn't put it on a transporter like some people. Wherever he goes in now, he's actually towing a caravan with it. Here's Dave Reed's FE. Nice looking truck. That would have been made in Birmingham. It's got the Willinghall cab on it. And when Dave actually bought this, it was in a real rough condition. If you get a chance, go and have a look at it and see what he done with it. It's unusual. Young Kate is usually driving it. I think she does more miles in it than what her father does. But it's nice to see the youngsters coming into it. But if you get a chance, just go and have a look at that. That's a good finish on it compared to what it was. Doesn't seem to think there's no more coming in, which is a pity, really. Daimler Benz. That is as British as me. Next to that is Foden, which were well known for steam engines. Edwin Richard Foden, which is the ERF, they were in the family, but Edwin Richard decided that in 1933 that the way forward out of steam was diesel. His company and directors didn't agree with him, so he parted company. And Edwin Richard Foden made his first truck in 33, and the first chassis number was 63, which was his age at the time. And now nothing's left. ERF is all gone. It's just a demonstration to give you an idea as to what we do. Axemen, stand to your logs. Go 1, 2, 3. And what the axeman has done is marked out his log, same diameter as the top of the log. You put 2 blows up and then 2 blows down, and you work round in that circular motion until you're happy that you've got through to the centre of the log. When you get through to the centre, you put your driving blows up, that severs the centre timber. You move up the log slightly, a couple of inches, and then you go around to the back of the log and repeat the process. Unfortunately, Ian's got a ruddy great knot right in the middle of his log, which is a bit of a shame, because these guys are of similar standards of chopping, and if you get a knot, you can't get the wood to come out freely, so you've got to take your time, work around that knot before you can drive the log off. Ashley's almost to that point now, driving the log downwards,
Leaves about 2 inches of timber in the middle. That's what we call the hinge, where you drive the log off. It goes off and falls to the ground. Ian's almost to that position now. It was the front side that was the bad one on there. We did see the knot on the outside, but we didn't realise quite how big it was. Timber we're cutting is chestnut. This particular chestnut comes from down in Dorset, and cuts very well, but it's quite 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and a half, 8, and they're all away now. Similar method as the standing block. The log is marked out. You work round in that circular motion. 2 blows cut the wood, 2 blows clear the chips. Top wood first, then the bottom, bottom then the top. Clear it all the way round. And if the log's big enough, when you get through to the centre, you put what we call the 3 driving blows in, which severs the timber. Then you're happy you're halfway through. You then turn round on your log, as Richard and Marion have both done, and start on the back side. Big blows going in. Harder you hit the wood, the more penetration you get. And of course, the more accurate you are, the easier it is to cut the log, because you're only cutting the timber actually once. If you keep stepping, you're cutting that timber marginally twice. Sam's doing very well up there. I think he had a busy day at another show yesterday, doing demonstrations. He's definitely coming on. How are the other 2 doing? Are you doing all right, Rich? I should have given you a little bit more of a start, didn't I? Well done, Rich. Marginally to the centre now. Choose your man, cheer him on. Come on, boys. 2 left, 2 right. Almost through. This log's beginning to crack. I can hear it. Mine's off. And Sam's off. Mine's to follow. There we go. As the saw comes free of the log, it drops the sawdust out, and the next tooth cuts again. Now Ian's done an awful lot of single man sawing, and the object is you stand a bit more upright, you saw down towards the ground, and although the saw is slightly bellied, so in other words it cuts into the wood itself, you rock the saw, which enables it to eat into the timber. Very difficult to learn. It takes about 12 months before you can actually saw a log off without buckling or bowing the saw. Nice sweet action there. Push the wood right through and the saw's off. Well, that's just behind the set of teeth. You have a raker tooth, which acts as a chisel. The chisel cuts what's been scribed, produces a long shred of sawdust, and as it comes out of the log, it drops the shred out of what we call the gullet, which is the rounded piece. So I'm going to set these 2 boys off nice and gently, just to give you a demo of this old saw. In your own time, boys. Go 1. It's a little bit thinner, this saw. Different timber on the cross-cutting saw. That's a bit of poplar. It lends itself for sawing much better. There we are, 2/3 of the way through. And of course, in the old days, the old boys would have spent hours and hours on the crosscut saw, converting every last bit of timber into logs or into cordwood. There we are, saw in 1 inch, or up to the top of the teeth. And what we can do with is somebody to tell me what the time is. So we'll go on the count of 3, and if you've got stopwatch facility on your phone or on your wristwatch, tell me how long it takes them to sever this log. So timekeepers, are you ready? Sawyers, are you ready? Stand to your log. Go 1, 2, 3. Bit thicker this saw. You can push and pull it, providing the partner's with you. And they're off. That didn't take very long at all. That was a very good cut. Not so experienced sawing now. So we let them set the saw. Is it set in enough, boys? That's it. Make sure it's nice and safe. Sawyers, stand to your log. Go 1, 2, 3. Nice long strokes. Once you get into it, put the weight on the saw, push and pull, get through to the centre, then pour the weight on, and the log will be off. Bit of a jam up there. I think we needed a calendar that time, didn't we? Never mind. Anybody else can have a go? No, that's it, is it? Okie doke. Now what the axeman will do is cut a notch or a pocket in the tree. It comprises of a 45-degree top angle and a level bottom cut. You've got to be ever so precise, because into that, and cut the log in a similar manner to what you would cut a standing block on the ground. But as you can appreciate, he can't move his feet. Everything moves. There's bound to be movement in the tree. And again, it becomes very, very difficult. It's something that Ashley's really done a lot of training on. Very strong cutter up the top there. Takes all the wood out, right through to the centre. When he's happy that he's at least halfway through, he put his driving blows in, hang in a proportion of the axe out so that it goes through the centre of the log, drop his axe down, jump in on the boards, and progress up the other side. Again, you've got to get the pockets directly opposite, otherwise when you get to the top, you're in the wrong position to cut the timber. Take 6 or 8 to 10 hits to get these pockets in, to get them accurate. The last 2 hits, you've got to drive the heel of the axe in to get that little bit more depth, so as the metal shoe sticks right into the timber on the inside. If you hang it out too far, the wood may split, so you've got to get into that tough stuff that's in the centre there. Lovely springboard, dead level. Nice pocket going in there, just slightly increase the angle. Yeah, it was a nice pocket, yeah. Made a slight bit of a mistake there, went up slightly on the top cut. Got to put it right. Just do with getting that bottom just dead flat. That looks better. Spear him right in. Try the board. Yeah, looks like he's good. Try and use the axe. Swing complete circle in over the shoulder when you're cutting down. Hit that chip out the way so it's nice and safe. Lovely neat cutting up there. Near side, far side, and you'll see exactly where you are when you get through to the centre. Couple of blows, and off it goes. Well done, Ashley, brilliant. You knock the block off, mate, please. We need another log too, don't we? Right, and the caps. for next time maybe. So Axeman, are you ready? Stand to your log. Go 1, 2, 3. Nice, big, strong blows on these big logs. It's no good going really quickly. You have to pace yourself. Take deep breaths and drive that axe in as hard as you can. Fairly even so far with what I can see of it. The top team, as we say, has changed over. We now got Sam on the second side. We've got Moy almost through to the centre. He put his driving blows in, and then Richard's got a bit of catching up to do. But I'm sure, super fit athlete that he is, he'll be able to do that. Cheer him on, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, give him a bit of support. Richard's going for it now. I thought he would do. Sam's doing well, hits slower but very hard and gets a lot of work done. See daylight on the top of this log and on the other one. Oh dear, they've done it to you, Rich, you'll be second. Couple more blows, it's already cracked. One more and off it goes.
Bus pass. I can't use it, so I'll give you a hint. It's a lady's name. So I've got these cards in my hand, and they will be going into the van. And so if you've lost your cards, then they'll be back here or in this van for you to pick up. Right. No, we got something else in. Is it? Right. We got the birds of prey coming in now. So children, any children like birds? Shout out loud if you like birds. That's what I like to hear. Mums and dads, do you like birds? Boy, the other thing is you put out all that bird seed, then all of a sudden you turn your back and it's all gone. Is it something to do with the weather? Where they're all getting fattened up to go abroad? And you just watch, they'll all come back in their hordes next year. Some won't go away at all because they like what food we give them.
Two laps and he's going to line up. So basically this is a 1940s V8 pilot, and yes, it's still raced. We do have heritage meetings, and it's still full contact. It's a bit of a job getting spares for rear axles and stuff like that, but this is how stock car racing started. And the very first meeting was of the race. They actually had the lock-in in the track so that no one else could go, and they had the police going up and down telling them not to go to the stock car racing. So, like I said, this is a bit of a legend. What they do, they use lorry chassis with steel car bodies. There's a lot of bodies which were Ford Pops. This is a Fiat Topolino, and the engine is a big 10-litre V8. Chevrolet engine. It's bored and stroked, and it developed something like about 1,000 brake horsepower at the wheels. Now, these are more specialised, and believe me, they're quite a strong car, and they take quite a big knock. Basically running an old Bedford CF gearbox on there. The rear wheels are reinforced on them, quarter plate, because there's so much torque. They're running through on this is a LD post office van rear axle. Basically he's only in first gear, which is a crawler gear, and it's quite some sort of power. No special rules on exhausts or anything. So this is what you would have seen in 1960, 78 to basically 1983, original Mike Close car. Now this car has won more Formula 1 races in a year than anything even to date. I've had that one fully restored, and that's quite an animal and a beast in itself. It's supporting a silver roof. What that means is that it's the national points champion. You race for graded positions, and because that car's won so much, you get national points champion, and that's what the silver roof is. And basically, the red stripes denotes that it's a red roof. So, like I said, another 10-litre engine, loads of power. In terms of power and what you see, you've got tractor pulling, that's the most powerfulest of the lot. Then these are very close, so this is a modern day car, so what you can see is from the 81 and then the 37 how the racing has progressed. Now, unfortunately, as everything happens these days, modern racing progresses, so believe it or not, although it looks just like a great big tug going round, you've got to have your suspensions all tuned, it's got to go on weigh-in tables, you've got cross weights, different things which you've got to have done, and basically this is a car for speedway tracks, so it races on shell. But you also would then need a tarmac car, and my tarmac car's blown up at the moment, so you need two cars really to actually compete at a good level. And so it's quite an expensive sort of thing. It's like I said, full contact, so the idea is whoever's behind you, they're going to put you into the opposite way. And so basically what you see there is a Class 2, and the Class 2 is a sort of a bit of a budget racing, but there's never any budget racing with when you get involved with racing. So a Class 2 is basically front wheel drive, and you're not allowed to do any mods or anything like that. So the car is really bog standard with a proper roll cage in. It probably costs you about £500 to £700 to get a roll cage put in it. So if you've got a Corsa, anything like that at home, then basically you can convert one and have a bit of great fun grass track. It's just a hotted up Mini, but believe me, these Class 4s are lightened in the rear. There's no back end or anything like that in them, and this one is running a Mini engine, which quite a few do. It's been lightened. If you look from the rear when he goes by, you'll see that there's nothing at all in the back, and so really it's that front wheel drive which is basically pulling you round the bend. As the different classes go up, they basically go faster and faster. The nearest track to you is only just down the road. It's at Elton Corner, and I got some dates for you which we'll go through in a minute, and we'll talk a little bit more about the grass track racing.
Gives it a bit of smoke, because in the evening it's a nice thing to see. Right, we've got obviously something to read out. There's a car in the way, or Right, ladies and gentlemen, announcement which no relation, I shouldn't think, to the famous Tommy Lee in the 70s and 80s. He's found him. Right, okay then. Right, Tommy has been found. So that's wonderful. These are what they call the gentle giants of steam. When you look at them with the different factories, that's a Foden steamer, which has got it's like a traction engine with big wheels on, and they would have lots of trailers on the back, and they would go around the country delivering loads. The next one in was the steamroller, and that's from St Breville's. Next week they will probably be at Perry Grove. And they will be along with the miniature railways at Perry Grove, and that's always a nice little show to go to. You've got the mixture of the big steamers and the little tiny tractors and the little tiny engines. This is a Foden, then a 1919 or something like that, so we'll get the and of course they could use timber pulling, timber tractor. They would have been coming out to haul the timber out of the woods, which has been laid down to rest. And then sometimes you would have a locomotive with a crane on the front, and the crane would depict that it could actually pick up timber and put it on a saw bench, do all sorts of things, and the fine old tradition of working in the woods. And as you can say, even just going round and round, the Foden has got a lot more power than the steamroller. And the steamroller was built not for general purpose. This was built for doing the roads and footpaths and anything like that, wherever they wanted to go. And they were used by the county councils, and they would have a box on the back which would have the coal in, or a bowser on the back with water, and then on the back of that they would have the towing wagon or the living wagon. So they would go around from county to county, whichever county wanted a roller and a setup to relay roads. You would have the complete amount of vehicles which these would supply, and they would go to the agricultural engineer and say, can we hire you for the season? And again, these would go out working sometimes in pairs, and then especially if you've got to have a boiler redone, and a boiler, which is the one that produces the steam, they can be up to £10,000, £15,000 to repair, so they are in such demand, these boiler makers. They are not easy to do, and again, a lot of... Right, if you've had hot sausages today, you can come into the arena but leave your sausages behind. Right, we've got a miniature as well coming in. Right, just be careful, we'll just get this miniature in. Obviously, it was out the back there, I didn't even know we got one here today, but it's nice to see them. Oh, there's two of them. And these are from the MRVS club. You do need a driving licence, not so much for the small ones, but for the big ones, you do need a driving licence to parade them around. But you can join when you in the middle of the road, or you go around an arena, so you have to go on for that. So we'll get these lined up, but we'll get these lined up the opposite way round, so that'll make you wander into the...
I'm on a loser's drifter, that's me. You can't travel for so